Hey guys, hello and welcome back to my channel. So if you've seen my previous video, that was my market prep part 1, and this is going to be part 2 where I turn this board into a pegboard. So I'm just going to get straight into this video. And the first thing we are going to do is sand this board. I'm sorry if it's a bit echoey in here. We are in my garage at the moment. Anyway, without further ado, let's get straight into sanding this board. And yes, I am wearing my slippers at the moment. It is cold in this garage, so I am wearing my slippers. Anyway, let's get sanding. So I probably should use better sandpaper, but this is what we have at the moment. I'm using a 120p sanding paper, and I'm just going to roughly sand it and then we'll paint it. Okay, so if you had seen my last video, you would have seen where I had to putty up these holes. So I'm just trying to get that nice and smooth, and they feel pretty good. And I am going to do a whitewash on this. There is some kind of greeny bluey color marking on the back. So I will probably just paint the back straight white. I will just do one coat of whitewash and see what kind of happens, and I'll be able to gauge from there if the whitewash is even going to remotely cover this. But again, it's the back and no one's really going to see the back, and this will be the front. So that's feeling pretty good. So I'm just going to get like a little brush and dust it off. So I'm just going to get my paint prepped and we'll get started. I'm using the same paint that I used for the bow board that I did, which is just this white acrylic paint. And again, like I said, I am doing the whitewash, so I have just mixed up some white paint with some water, and I just have my rag. I'm going to be working in sections again, and I'm guessing I'm probably going to be needing about 3 coats, but we'll see how it goes. Remember, this whitewash paint dries a lot quicker than regular paint, so working in sections. A bigger paintbrush would be handy. This is quite small, but it's the cleanest one I have, and when using white, you don't want any other colours on it. So the paint seems to be sticking to this a lot better than those frames. I did spend a bit more time sanding this, and it's just a nicer wood, I think. So I might only actually need 2 coats. I'm already loving how this is turning out. Like I said earlier, the whitewash paint dries really, really quickly, so it's already ready for its second coat on the outside, and by the time I do the outside, I'll be able to do the center again. I think I'm only going to need to do 2 coats, but yeah, once I finish the second coat, we'll see how it's looking. So I'll come back once I finished the second coat. Rightio guys, so I have finished painting 2 coats of the whitewash onto the board, and you can still see where I've patched it, but that's okay because down the bottom the stand will hopefully disguise that a little bit, and I'll probably have the price tag up here. But I'm really happy with the colour of it. I have also done the back. So now all that's left to do is to measure out how many dowels I'm going to have, how many I can fit across there, cut the dowel, and then yeah, that should basically be it. So this is the dowel I got. I just got it from Mitre 10, just like a hardware store. It's 1.8 meters long, so I should get quite a few. I just haven't quite decided if I want 2 or 3 scrunchies to be able to sit on each dowel. So what I'm thinking about doing is cutting it so that 3 can fit on it, and I'll be able to move it back and forth as to whether I want 2 or 3 on the day. So I have a few scrunchies here that they're like my thicker ones that I'm going to use to measure out the dowels. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to this is going to be a rough measurement. So 3 scrunchies sitting kind of loosely would be about 4 inches. And then I'm going to take into account the thickness of the actual board. So this part here that I'll actually be drilling through isn't actually that thick, but this is about 1 inch, and then, okay, so I'm going to do about 4.5 inches, I think, for each dowel. Maybe I'll do 5 inches. If I have a little bit extra, that's fine. So I just have a hand saw. It's a really large one, but it's the only one we have. So hopefully I can do this. Okay, this would be so much easier if the dowel was shorter to begin with, and if I just had a drop saw. But we are improvising and we are just using what we have around the house, and all I have is this big giant saw. Alright, so I'm just going to test this one out, see how we go. So keeping in mind that we do actually have to go through the wood. Don't know if you guys can actually see what I'm doing, but that will just fit 3. So I'll either have to go slightly bigger or only have 2 on there. If I have 2 and then put that through, it would be more like that. So I might the next one, I might cut it about 5.5 inches, I think. Let's just double check the measurement of this one. Yeah, so this is 5 inches, so I think I might go 5.5 just to give me that little bit extra allowance, and that's what I'm going to stick with, 5.5. Let's go. Alrighty, so I've finished cutting all the dowels. I have a little bit left over, so I guess I could use this as a spare, or I don't know. We'll figure it out later. What I'm going to do now is just get a little bit of sandpaper, and I'm just going to sand over each one a little bit. So I think that's pretty good. Now all we have to do is measure where we're going to put these dowels. I think there's going to be 3 across. I'm not quite sure how I'll go going down. But what I'm going to do is get my 3 scrunchies. And I think we're going to roughly go there. Drill my first hole. So I have a big drill piece, hopefully it's just big enough, I think. I've drilled all the holes for this board, but the drill piece is just a little bit too small for the dowel, so I'm going to have to rush out and go grab a slightly bigger drill piece, and hopefully I can find one that works. Alrighty, so I am back. What I ended up doing was actually running to my work, which is closer than the hardware store, and I checked with my maintenance man to see if he had a drill piece, and thankfully he did. So I ended up going with a 12.5mm drill piece, and so we are going to test these out. Hopefully they fit. I've already drilled it, and now we're going to try and put in the dowels. So the maintenance guy said that they'll be a tight fit, but it would be better if I want to be able to pull them back and forth. If I went with a 13mm, the hole would be a little bit more loose, the dowel would kind of be loose, I would probably end up having to glue it. So they are a really tight fit now. So that's pretty good. It is really, really tight though. I almost kind of wish I had gone the 13mm, but this is better because at least then they're not going to come out at all. This is the other little cookbook stand that I was talking about in part 1 that I'm going to use to stabilize the scrunchie board. Okay, so this is all done now. board's gonna go this way now. Okay, so that is what it looks like. Yeah, I might end up, on the day of the market, I might end up getting a second cookbook thing to just, I really want it to stand this way. Yeah, it's just not quite stable enough with this cookbook stand. Yeah, that's not gonna work. So it's gonna have to go this way, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm so happy with how this has turned out, being handmade rather than having it bought from the store. So yeah, you can definitely fit 3 on there. So pretty happy with how that's looking. Alright guys, so that concludes my market prep for my displays. I am really happy with how everything has turned out. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below, as it really helps support my channel and it lets me know the kinds of videos you guys like to see. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.